Hello guys, and welcome to another David Zimaleta. In today's video I have Ben with me, and we're actually getting ready to work on his Sprinter van. This is a 2003 Sprinter van. It is a little bit different than 2004 through 2006. We need to change the rear differential fluid. We need to change transmission fluid completely. We will be dropping a valve body down and then cleaning up the speed sensors. And gotta change a couple radiator hoses and do the radiator fluid flush. That's about it. And replace some pulleys. Yep. And a belt.
Serpentine belt.
So we got our work cut out for us. So anyways guys, enjoy the video. Okay guys, we're going to begin by actually draining the rear differential. You're going to need something like this, not quite the size, but I would have one that's plugged in. So basically this is how it works. You just basically tighten it up like this and loose it like that. So I'm assuming it's probably like H14, but I'll tell you the correct size to record the video. But so first I put the bucket kind of like way down there, so it gives me a little excess. So this is for tightening and this is for loosening. Okay, so that's coming out. Okay, so now we're draining the fluid. And while it's draining, let me tell you the size. H14, that's the number. Anyways guys, the very next thing I want to drain is the radiator. This is actually a good radiator, but I pulled it up from one of my vehicles. You might be wondering, where's the drain plug located? And here's the actual draining port. That's where it comes out. So the drain plug is actually located directly behind it. So you just basically open it up like this. There's not a lot of room there, but you could kind of feel it from getting in from this side. You basically undo it like this, starts leaking radiator fluid. So we're going to start draining it on this side, and of course the dog wants to give me kisses. Guys, I'm going to try to show you what I'm doing. So let me see here. This is where the plug is. It's right there, but once I undo it, it's gonna have all kinds of river flowing here. So there it goes. But this is what it looks like, guys. It's black on this printer, it's not red. Gonna pop this off. Now it's really coming down. We do have this connect. As you can see, it's not red like my 2006 radiator. It is smooth. It just drains here. It's just all over the place. This engine's just getting bait. Diesel, no. All right, we're gonna let that drain. Now it's time for us to close it up. Here's this little closing pin. Okay guys, so we're gonna be replacing this small hose and the larger hose that's back here. So we could use either small screwdriver or a big one. This is not difficult. Just be careful pulling these hoses out because it is a plastic type of fitting, and any of these plastic fittings, they could actually break off, especially the ones on the power steering pump. Right here, this plastic can. People have broken that before. So you could kind of pry it like this a little bit with a screwdriver. That way you could just pull it off. Now we're gonna need to pull off this one. So that's a metal one. We could just kind of pull on it. So now you want to make sure you match it up to make sure it's going to be the same, you know, type of pipe. As you can see, it's pretty easy to make that mistake. So this is for the upper, and that is for the lower. Some more, it's a fresh pipe. Okay, so now we're going to have to disconnect this hose. Up a little bit, give it like one good pull, and then just tuck it out of the way like that. That way everything is visible. Now, if you take a look at this particular hose, it has this rubber piece, because this is actually original. But the other one, I believe it's an aftermarket type of hose, it does not have this piece. So what we're gonna do is we're going to go ahead and actually install it. It actually holds the little hose in place right where we need to be. Now we need to install this. Just slide it a little bit further and then install this way.
Order that lower hose on Amazon.
Okay.
Now, so I can have it.
You ordered it already?
I'm going to.
Okay, nice.
The bladder, so the lower one and that little bladder, funky looking thing.
Guys, I am multitasking, trying to basically work as fast as I can, train different system and stuff like that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually getting prepared to replace the rear differential fluid. Normally I don't do all these services in one single video, split it up, but I already have individual videos of this. But a little reminder, you're gonna need some kind of synthetic gear lubricant, 75 by 140. So, and I already have drained it. I gotta replace the bolt on it now. So it's going to be the next course of action. This tops off right here. So cut both of them off. Then I'm going to replace these caps and go ahead and actually take this underneath with me. So I will try to just, you know, get things started by hand. So the very next thing we're gonna do is we're going to remove the top of the bottle connector and twist the bottle over. So we're done with this bottle. We're on to the next. Most likely we're not going to use up this whole complete bottle, but once it's going to start leaking out, then it's a good time for us to pull it out. Okay, you see that rush of oil? That means it's full. So now we could go ahead and close it off and pull these two bottles out of here. So let's take a look at this fluid. This bucket was completely clean. So it is quite dark. So that really needed to be replaced. Okay guys, the next thing is we're going to be draining the transmission fluid pan. This one's stripped, so I can't really measure the size, but I believe this is a T30. But I do want to show you, this is what the pan looks like. And we're actually going to need this pan for some other stuff. I'm going to use it kind of like a little storage bin. So for now, I'm just going to drain this. So apparently it is quite tight back there, so it's not letting me to really drain it. So it is correct size for these, and the 13-pin connector, as you can see, it's actually quite wet, so it's actually leaking. So I'm gonna have to use a bigger impact on this. Okay guys, I'm going to try to approach this by removing it with this here. Okay, it is a little bit loose. I'm afraid to strip it. It's a little bit stripped, like there's not too much play, but I'm afraid that it's just going to strip it out, and I want to avoid that. So there's a couple approaches. I could try to heat it. Heating usually does a much better trick. So it looks like it is heated up some. Let's see if I could just bang on it a little bit. Seems quite stuck. Let's see what it does with this tool. Yes, it's good now. So that helped me save that bolt. So now I'm just gonna do it by hand. I don't want to get my tool dirty. Okay. So the next step is I want to go ahead and actually remove the rest of the bolts. So I'm going to be using another transmission pan as a place to hold my bolts. And then this other transmission pan, I'm just going to let it drop inside. So I'm going to use a couple of them in the front, well, towards the back actually. So fluid's gonna naturally start leaking out of that seal. Okay. And remove these two. Now I'm gonna remove that one towards the corner. Okay, now it's really starting to come down because it's more loose at this corner, and that's actually what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen this one. I'm just gonna leave it a little bit like that, tilt it over, let it leak out. So that's kind of like used as a little prop. From what I could see, the transmission fluid is quite dirty right now. So let's go ahead and actually remove the final. Okay. So I poured out all the transmission fluid. Now I want to pull out the actual pan itself. Okay, let's take a look then. Okay, we do have a lot of buildup on the metal there, and you could definitely see how much transmission fine powder is inside here. That's what I'm gonna call it. So let's see, I'm gonna balance it on here but keep it from falling. Hey guys, up next I'm going to be removing the belt and replacing it and replacing some pulleys. So everybody always asks me, what kind of tool do you use? Well, this is a Torx Bit T60. So when you're at the bottom, not sure the way it sits, you know, doesn't really matter. You just reach in there like that and you basically put some tension on it and you start rotating it. So here's the way I do it. I basically reach in there by connecting this little tool and basically just doing it like that. So this is a little bit too long, so I'm gonna make it a little shorter. So now guys, I'm going to simulate this, how to actually remove it. I have videos where you could actually see what I'm doing, but for this particular video, not going to really see, but I got this vehicle lifted up some, so hopefully you could see exactly what you're going to be looking at. So as you can see, oh man. So as you can see, here's the tensioner. So you're gonna have to reach in between these hoses. So if you look at it, right next to it is where you need to be. So, okay. So now, simply pull on it and release the belt from its location. So we're just gonna get it loose. If this was just a belt replacement, it would have been quite simple. You just basically install it and that's it. But we do have to get some pulleys and replace them. So from what it looks like, this belt actually looks good to me. There's no cracks. This can definitely be used as a spare belt. But we do have this new one here, and this does say Napa Power Series. As you could see, the lettering hasn't even deleted. So we have this one here. It's a Deco design. This is a non-slip type of system. Now the 2003 Sprinters, can't remember, they're either 1 inch longer or 1 inch shorter. We'll be able to compare this belt to some other ones, but this is the new one that we're going to be installing. So want to make sure I just have this ready. I'm gonna put that one towards the bottom. We do have these gears that we're gonna be replacing. So these are the two grooved, and then here's the smooth one. Normally the smooth ones are plastic like this, but in this case we have this metal one here. So this is a T40. You simply, it's going to be connected, of course. So you simply get it loose like this. Remove the top cover. So this is what a pulley looks like. There is no wrong or right way to put it on. I'm not sure why it's got some grooves here and that other stuff doesn't, but you could very well put it this way and it's gonna be fine, and you could put it that way, it's gonna be fine. It's all the same. So then you're going to need to replace this bolt. I don't want to make it too tight. So the very first pulley we're going to replace is going to be this one. It's got a plastic cover and there's no room to pop it off. So let's see if this tiny screwdriver is going to work. So we're going to sneak it around like that. Okay, so both of those loose. The tensioner itself does not have one. Anyways guys, for these groove pulleys it's a T45. For the smooth pulley it's a T40, in case you guys are taking notes. And this is the way I always replace them, like this simple method. And that's, believe me, it's not simple because there's just absolutely no room in here. And then you take like a key or something like this, slide it on it, adjust it, so put some tension on it. There you go. It's now getting undone. So I loosened it like this, put it on here like that, and I tried using a normal type of wrench, and it seems like it's pretty difficult as well, you know. But I had a T40 on it, and this is a T45. Okay guys, let's see if this normal socket would work. Apparently not enough room. Perhaps I could use a smaller one. I think I would like a longer handle on one of these smaller tools. Would have definitely made my job a whole lot easier if I could get this one loose from here. So it is coming loose somewhat. Okay, that did get it loose. You're pulling this bolt out because in the back of it there's a metal piece, and this is a spacer. So if you, let's say, pull the bolt out, this drops and you don't notice the drop, you will be very confused as to how the heck was this on there. But it's this bolt, guys. So we're gonna set this aside and go ahead and install a new one. So we're gonna do this, that, basically like that. And we're just gonna have to work it in there. I did basically remove the pulley from the actual bolt. That way I could actually align it with my fingers. It's just really no place for it. Guys, if you're doing this, I hope you're wearing gloves. I'm cutting myself on everything, literally. As you can see, there's lines, even though there's a t-shirt protecting, but everything is cutting me right now. So now I'm going to start tightening things down. As I get closer, and this just keeps slipping out, and there's also a fan that's not allowing me to hold things as I want to. And I'm going to install it like this, and just get it tight, but not overdo it, because you don't want to break things. It's like you want to feel that it's tightened, and do like almost like a quarter turn. So that was good. Hey guys, I do want to explain to you this pulley right here, this groove pulley on the installation that sits right here. It does not have the metal piece that goes behind it, and that's due to the fact that this alignment of the belt perfectly matches. This one doesn't, and so they added an extra piece so it comes out. So I just want to make sure that you know that, because if you go to install this, or you just pulled it out and it's missing, and you're questioning reality, well, there's your answer. So I won't waste your time trying to install this one, but I'm basically putting it hand tight. I'm gonna put it hand tight as much as I can, and then for the rest of it I'm going to tighten it up the normal way. Well guys, I did get this tensioner pulley loose with this type of tool, guys, in case anybody's wondering. It was super challenging because there's just no room. So I just now removed the bolt and the pulley. The bolt has dropped. Here is the bolt. So the bolt goes inside like that, and this is the pulley wheel. Here's the new pulley wheel that we're going to be installing. So I'm just going to take them together like this, and I'm going to try to hopefully install it, but there's just not enough room. I'm going to try to do it with you know, maybe piece by piece. Maybe just install these two. It's like, you ever seen that one story in a book, like a monkey, how they catch monkeys? They cut a hole in like a box, and they put peanuts inside, and the monkey grabs all the peanuts, try to pull it out, and it gets actually trapped inside the box. That's how I feel holding that pulley together with all of these things here. It's just such a challenge, and you have to learn how to see like the blind by feel. So now I'm actually getting it started, and I'm sorry I'm not giving you the visual, but this is not one of those places that I can do that. And I actually got the pulley on there. Now I just gotta get it tight. I'm using 2 fingers to just twist the bolt like this. Just get it close enough. So now it's on there. I'll have to now tighten it. as I'm tightening the pulley spins, and that's fine. It's actually the bolt kind of grabbing it. It's not actually loose, just so you know. Okay, I do have it tight enough. The next thing is we have to install the belt. So there's a good chance that somebody took them off and never replaced them. But if you have them, definitely use them. I've seen many sprinters with these missing. So now with the belt, the easy part. Good. Okay. Now I'm gonna remove the AC pulley and AC pulley. I'm gonna install the AC pulley belt and leave this one, that's the alternator, to be last. So guys, time for the belt installation. So pretend you're doing this by yourself. This is how you would do it. So you first need to find that little access point. Okay. Basically, I want to make sure everything's tight. When everything's tight, everything's good. Basically, that's as good as it's gonna get. Now, with one arm, pull on it, and another one, pull on the tensioner. Okay, so everything is good, and then boom, the belt is on there. Let's take a look. The belt is on there nicely, so that's a good thing. Alright guys, I hope you can see good, because we're getting ready to start removing the valve body. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the 30-pin connector, just right there. So we have to basically put that down and then out, and we'll just secure that over there. Now we have to take a number 7mm and basically get rid of that. So guys, here's the 30-pin connector. It's right now in this position, and then that's the bolt. You need to basically put a 7-inch. It needs to be kind of like a deep socket. This alone will not reach it. So basically, we have to find the bolt. I did find it. So just need to get it loose. You always have to replace the 13-pin connector when you're doing your transmission fluid change. It's very important. Also, if you're trying to remove the valve body, which we are in this video, you definitely need to do that. These 13-pin connectors, even though they're, you know, plastic and stuff, they get sealed very good. I just want to make sure that I don't damage anything, and so I definitely feel that it is loose. Now we must pull it out. Surprised how stuck it was in there. Very surprised. So this rubber gasket that flew out. Guys, this is a new style 13-pin connector, and this is an older style 13-pin connector. These rubber things, they're very loose and they cause leaks to happen. These are a lot better. They're a little bit more springy. They're just a little bit better than those. These actually are very common to leak. I mean, look, it's like I'm barely pulling on it and it's already coming down, like something with that. With this one, I have to actually literally pull on it, but if I'm just going over it with fingers like this, it's not coming out. To install it, you want to make sure it's in down position like that, and it's towards the bottom of your corner. And that's when you're gonna have to start installing it. You can only install it one way. You can't really install it like the wrong ways. Like, these have to line up. So just kind of have a feel for it, carefully put it in. Lubricate this with oil if you have to, because sometimes they're challenging to install. So everything just needs to be perfect. So here's the valve body. This is the filter. Needs to be installed just like that. Should have left it alone. It's built on my flashlight. But I have really no choice in leaving it alone, because I must remove stuff. I got a oily hand now, but I'm not letting that stop me. So basically, the bolts that I'm removing, they're here. Gotta remove 5 over here, and I gotta remove these right here. This little lever, it needs to line up when you actually install in that transmission. But so right now I'm gonna show you a little closer access. I'm not wearing any protection, that plastic piece. Hopefully you guys seen it. That needs to line up, and that needs to line up. Everything needs to go on exactly the same. If you don't do it just right, you're in for some trouble. So right now I'm just gonna go to town. I'm gonna start removing all of these bolts. It's a total of 9 of them, and I'm going to leave one towards the front and one in the middle. There's actually 10 bolts. Excuse me guys, I made a mistake in the math. It's just there's 6 on one end and 4 on the other. Having a torque or impact, you know, some kind of wrench, it helps. As you can see, it's a piece of cake, me having to remove this. I'm gonna leave that loose a little bit, let it do its thing. Uh-oh, I have to fish it out. It's being held down by only one screw, so let's go ahead and get that one out. Just a little bit loose. Angle it. Let it come out. Okay, I don't have a lot of patience, so it's coming out. I don't want to damage anything. Oh my god. It's somewhat heavy. So this is going to be where I'm going to service it. This is the speed sensor, and that's a speed sensor. They do have a little bit of grime on them, as you can see. They're made out of magnet, so all I have to do is clean them. That is all. See, as I'm wiping it, it's really black because it is some buildup on there. Hey Ben.
Here's my free dinner snack. You do enjoy.
Yeah, it's a good thing. That's your valve, buddy.
How's it look?
Well, looks good. I don't know what the heck this is. I just contaminated it.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, I think so.
Where did that come from? We don't want any contamination.
No. So what is the purpose of this device?
Well, over here you got solenoids under the covers, and you got two of them over there. Covers are easy to pop off. These had metal on them, so it's definitely a good thing that we removed them.
Yep.
This was a clean napkin. All the blackness is the metal that was actually on there.
Yep.
So that's good.
Yeah. Now, when you do a torque converter, where is the torque converter on this? Like, where's the transmission?
It's right in front of the transmission. We haven't drained it yet.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's something I'm gonna have to drain next.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Like,
yes.
Where that
Nobody drains it. Nobody. If you would take this to even Mercedes to get an oil change, they would not do it. That's considered a transmission flush. That's not considered a normal transmission fluid change. Valve body here, together with the conductor plate. There's solenoids underneath. I could pop these covers off. There's no problem with having to remove them, but it's not unnecessary either. So these are your solenoids, and they're being held by just a single bolt right there. So they're basically doing their job, pumping the fluids, and there's another one. There's two more over here. So we don't need to mess with them. You only need to remove them if you're replacing a conductor plate. But I want to demonstrate where this 13-pin connector goes. It goes in here. And basically, let's see, if we twist it over, this is what you're going to be dealing with. You're dealing with two triangles up top, and you're dealing with a smaller groove up there. So this is how you would install it, in this position right here. So if you try to install it any other way, it's just not going to work. So the very first seal, it seals the actual conductor plate. The second one seals for the transmission. That's the hole. And then to pull it out. But as you can see, it's not going to fit any other way. You need to basically align it just right, or you're not going to fit. Now, you will struggle with this piece. If this is in wrong alignment, you will not be able to install the 13-pin connector. You're just going to roll it back and forth. Like it just doesn't go. Yeah. It's really crazy. Like, this is really hard to install here. If you're not just right, then It also has a shape inside. You see how it looks like?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw it earlier.
You have to match it exactly.
I mean, is this some of the stuff over engineered? Would you say?
Yes,
I think so
most
too.
definitely.
Yeah.
This is technically, I mean, look, when they designed this, you know, YouTube was just getting started, I think.
Oh yeah.
So not a lot of people had information on these. They didn't expect really for guys like me to, you know, tear this stuff down and really explain, you know, this kind of stuff, because
It's just so.
it's simple, but it's complicated.
It looks pretty complicated to me.
Yeah. It's simple if you know what you're doing. It's complicated if you've never seen it before. It's gonna scare somebody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, we just removed valve body.
Yeah.
The other thing that's left to remove is the clutches.
Yeah.
Once that's gone, I mean, we just disassembled the transmission.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be a bit more work though.
Yeah.
This
Hopefully
is-
we'll never have to deal with that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then this has to go on just right. There's a metal lever that needs to go on. This is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That needs to align.
Yeah.
That needs to align.
Jeez Louise.
And you see, look, you see how this is all moving like that?
Sure.
Well, somebody's not paying attention. They removed it with it being here. Well, now it went inside from naturally type of thing.
Wow.
And they're installing it. They're aligning this metal pin. They put it in gear. Everything's correct. But guess what? They didn't align this one. Transmission's not going to shift.
Wow.
I had my viewers write to me sometimes. They're like, "Oh, I did all that, like you said, but it doesn't shift." I'm like, "Did you do that?
Yeah.
What plastic piece?
Yep.
That?"
When they put it in, it was pushed in. They just never.
Yeah, it was like somewhere like here, you know.
Yeah.
But it naturally, look what's it doing. It slides in.
Slides in.
And this one stays in place, and that is if they didn't pull it off. There's two bolts that look the same. You pull that off. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
But then you have to put it on. You don't need to pull that off, you know.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So technically, I think it had enough fresh air, don't you think? Let's put it back.
I think she's ready.
Oh, man.
She walked the dog.
The only thing is, it's like, it's so annoying when the stuff drips on your face.
Oh yeah. You need like a little shake.
You know, I installed a transmission by putting it on my body, and I lift it up into place. It was so difficult.
My first transmission I pulled out was one of the first original Honda Civics.
Yes.
And the transmission, you could literally, I got under the car, my brother unbolted it, and it laid on my chest, and I slid out
Really?
on my chest. Yeah, tiny little thing.
So now,
70, like a 79, 80, 81 Civic.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
High school days.
High school days. Well, that's when I started just learning how to work on these things from a shop class.
Yeah.
And just keep going.
I'm just gonna watch just for shits and giggles. I'm just gonna.
Yeah. Have fun. Oh, man. This is a workout.
That is, because like I say, it gets in your face, you get that in your eye.
Yes. Okay, we are in proper alignment. I don't know if we can find the bolts.
Yeah, good arm workout, right?
The hardest work is done.
Yeah. It's in.
So that is in, that is in, everything's looking delicious.
Good.
By the way, that's where the torque converter is. You have to pop them plastic pieces off.
Okay.
And then we'll have to spin at the front of the engine.
Ah.
And that's how to get it done. But I don't want to get my hands contaminated, so I'm going to put the rest of the bolts in.
Yeah.
Plus, I keep them from forgetting where they go.
Yep.
This is that's an $1,800 job.
Oh, easy.
It is. That's what they charge for
Yeah.
it. Well, one thing's for sure, if you complicate things overly, then you're not even gonna attempt to try to do stuff. This is not rocket science.
No.
By the way, I'm not putting him in really tightly, despite it sounds like it's just this hammer thing. Once it gets any resistance, it starts doing a little thing, but it's very minimum type of stuff. It's meant to drive screws in, technically.
Yeah.
I use it for my drywall.
Oh yeah.
But I do have this. Oh my god, my neck, it feels like it's hanging too much.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to make it tight just a little bit more.
Yep.
Tight a little bit more. This is aluminum.
Oh yeah. Easy to take the threads out, man.
I'm doing it the old school way.
Yeah, by feel.
By feel, yeah.
I do the same thing.
You can't go crazy with it though.
No.
Yeah.
You gotta know where to stop.
Yes. I broke enough, and if you know, bolts not on the transmission, but I broke bolts, starter bolts, by over tightening it.
The old easy out.
Man, when I was like 18, that would be so disappointing because
you're just wrenching them.
Yeah.
You think you're doing the right thing.
Okay. I want to see how this one is. Yes, we're good now. All right, so whew, this is pretty much my parts bin here. This is my transmission pan. It's much easier when you have a place where you could set the stuff down and like bolts and stuff. I got your bolt right here. I didn't even ruin it. Good thing I heated it, because man, if I didn't heat it and I just tried to pull it out the way it was,
no can do.
It's already stripped a tiny bit, and that's enough to just cause the rest of it. It would be a pain. So now, if I'm lucky, these things are rubber. If I'm lucky, the plug is going to be here somewhere.
For the torque converter.
Am I lucky? Oh, geez, I am lucky.
All right.
Son of a gun. How did I become this lucky?
Because it's about to get to be your bedtime soon. Because it's going to be your bedtime soon.
You know, if you don't have nobody to help you with this,
it's tough, man.
To rotate the front of the engine, I would have to physically rotate it by hand.
Yeah.
And you know that engine is not easy to rotate.
No.
And it's a back-breaking work, man. It's like I had my kids monitor this, and I said, just tell me when you see this. And they got the stuff dripping on there, like, oh, no, Dad, I can't handle this anymore. And they quit on me. I'm like, come on. But this was when they were much younger.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you know, I try to get them involved, because, man, that's how life is. You have to sometimes get your hands dirty.
Yep. You never hear them complain, and when they get 16 and have a car, you don't have to worry about that.
Can I ask you for one thing? Can you bring me that new 13-pin connector?
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and install it. It's just so hard to crawl in here.
Oh, it's a pain.
Yeah. It's time for me to install the 13-pin connector. And I landed it perfectly. Yay, the 13-pin connector is installed. Now we have to install the hardest part, the plug. These plugs are literally hard to install. Oh, and it's done. You just have to work it a little bit.
It's hard to work with
because this installs not by plugging it in, by you twisting a plastic piece, and that has to grab it correctly and pull it forward.
Right.
So that's good. So the next thing we could do is go ahead and install this pan, and then I'm gonna drain the torque converter. So go ahead and do that. So okay, we have to clean it. Hey guys, this is a transmission pan. There is a magnet that's located over here. It is thin for a reason, because the transmission filter, it is so tiny, it's like flat. So this here collects the metal because it's a magnet. Gosh, guys, I'm really sorry, I can't really speak right now, I'm like super tired. But basically guys, have to clean it up. It's not rocket science. You don't have to be perfect. After all, we're not going to eat off of it. We are replacing the seal, so we're gonna go ahead and set it to the side. But I just like to wipe this down with like regular napkins, and that will help collect any metal type of residue. As you could see, it turns black from the collection of it. So basically I just wipe it down. All this blackness you see, it's pretty much it's metal. It's like shavings, because this oil, this is probably getting its first time oil change. It's only 89,000 miles, which nothing wrong with keeping it that long without a change. But at the same time, there's going to be some wear and tear. So we're good here. So what we want to do is we want to replace the magnet. Just put it like right there like that. And now we need a new seal. So this is a new seal. We're going to go ahead and install it. When you first buy it, it's in a box. It's going to be all crunched up. Just take it out of the box, guys. Just let it sit there and it will straighten itself out. It's really important to install a new seal every time. It does help with not having any leaks. So now, this is the filter. We're going to install it. And I'm going to wipe my hands down again. So the filter is gonna go on first. You want to make sure there's a seal here, and you find a place for it. And there's gonna be a metal location, like a hole right there. There's a plastic. So these things need to fall in alignment, and you want to make sure you hear that click. You heard it? Like, see how it's now nicely solid? Very important. If this filter drops down, you're gonna have some issues. So I'm gonna go ahead and raise the pan. And so the very first one we're gonna install is this little guy. Okay. Alright, so that kind of holds things now. I could relax a little bit, could start breathing. The very next one we want to install, it's on this side. Okay, so that's good. Now I do want to replace the cap. It goes here. I call it a cap, but that's, you know, that's a drain plug. So we're gonna go ahead and replace this one. It doesn't help if you're sweating, which I am. My sweat's going in my eyes. These are good threads. One thing for sure. Good. One more. Okay, so that may seem like I got everything tight, but it's not. It's just, that's what it seems like, because I'm using a Torx and it basically stops, so things are still quite loose. Want to make sure you tighten everything. You don't want to over tighten it. These transmissions, they have very weak threads. It's so easy to ruin them. So you have to be very, very careful. So that is good. Laying on rocks ain't no fun. So don't try that. If you learn anything from this video, take that one home. Yeah, it's rocks. It's not a good massage, to say the least. Guys, believe me when I tell you this, this bolt is one of the easiest to lose. So just gonna be very careful. I'm gonna do it by hand, and make sure I hold it just like so. So now that's the way you drain the torque converter. Lucky me that the bolt happened to be right there. So that's a very good thing. Torque converter holds close to 4 quarts in there. Same thing in the pan, about 4. But really, in between the lines and, you know, in the valve body and stuff like that, there's about another quart. So there's a total like 9. So when you drain everything like this, there's still going to be about possibly half a quart left over between all the residue and some lines, transmission coolant lines and stuff, having it. So when you're going to pour new transmission fluid in, which will come through this pipe, any overfill that will happen will actually get forced out of here. And it's not a big problem. If that happens, don't worry, you just poured a little too much, so it will simply just, that's a weak spot, so that's where it's gonna go. So the transmission fluid about finished leaking out. So guys, it's done draining. Little drips. So now gotta be extra careful. Make sure I align everything perfectly. The last thing I want is to lose this bolt inside of one way. Not feeling any tension. That's really weird. Okay, now it's tight. Okay, good. That's weird. I thought it was not tightening nothing. So now, by the way, guys, see this line? This is the line that's actually coming from the very top of your engine where the fuel injectors are. So if you have diesel leaking out of the return fuel line, that's where it's going to leak out of. So just in case you guys are wondering about that. Now, if your transmission has these covers, great, reinstall them. Need to replace the transmission fluid here. So every single transmission cover, this is where the dipstick is located. They're usually broken off, these tabs. So what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to push it in, catch it from the back, save it. Now you could pull this transmission cover off. Right, guys, we have already replaced everything with the transmission. We drained everything, so now we basically have to replace the fluid. So I basically use a funnel like this. It's a very inexpensive funnel. This is a slow process, so you're just gonna have to pour in about 8 quarts, and then on the 9th you just have to, you know, use a little bit of it, or maybe just leave it at 8. That is if you drained the torque converter as well, just like I did. So we're just gonna pour it slowly like this, and once we pour all of it in, we're just gonna basically cycle through all the gears, you know, with the keys turned in second position. Not started yet, but just kind of cycle through all the gears and just, you know, let the transmission use this fluid up and start shifting. Then turn it on and basically do the same thing. This particular one, it's a correct type of fluid. This is Valvoline full synthetic ATF plus 4. So basically this is the right stuff. So far it's 2. I have poured 8 quarts total, and the 9th I only poured about the 1/3 of the can. I was gonna do about half, but I'm going to leave it up to the actual measuring stick. But I think actually right now this is actually a perfect amount. If I left it alone, I didn't measure anything, this would be fine, especially if you don't have a measuring stick. Now if I pour a little bit too much, let's say I pour 9 quarts, okay, and this would be extra. All this transmission fluid would just basically leak out at the weakest point on the transmission through the transmission dipstick, where it goes inside of the transmission at the very top. So it's gonna make a big puddle on the you know, on your floor. If you have a concrete pad, it's gonna be very annoying. Gravel might be less annoying, but it's gonna create a spot, and I don't want that to happen. So basically we're gonna go with this and then add as we need to. That is the purpose of having the transmission dipstick. My name is Serge Zimaleta. I'm 37 years old, and yes, I experienced success after buying my first home for cash. Back in 2011, I was broke, but I learned to solve problems on my own. Now I'm helping others to solve their problems. I know what pitfalls to avoid to stay profitable in business. Need motivation to be more successful in your life? Do you have Sprinter, Expedite, or business problems? Then subscribe. Let's find creative solutions to your problems. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my helpful videos.